soldiers or individuals who do that. The flood waters affected many churches, swept away homes, and destroyed crops. We were just sleeping, and suddenly the flood came from nowhere. All the plants are dying. There are so many chemicals in the water right now, it's killing all the plants. I believe that.
Yeah, and we see these two guys up to their armpits in water, in flood water. That's horrible. That's
scary. We need your help right now in this critical moment where we are. Thousands of believers are affected by the Nigeria floods. 1 million people have been impacted by the flooding caused by the persistent rain and the Alawu Dam collapsing. So they had rain and the dam collapsing. Now, there was another one in America, with all these floods we had, they also had a dam that was getting ready to bust.
In Tennessee.
And I don't know if it busted or not. So there's all kinds of rains and floods. That's kind of weird. But these have been here for a while. While the floods aren't uncommon in this region, experts said that this is the worst flood to hit Maiduguri in, 60 years. Cars and livestock were swept away as water levels rose to consume villages. Well, that's what we saw even down, from this hurricane. Cars, livestock, houses, all of those things disappear when you have these terrible floods. To make matters worse, many Christians affected have already been displaced because of constant attacks from Boko Haram, an Islamic terror group, and they're terrible. We've talked about them many times.
It's horrifying. Very disturbing.
And so this latest disaster, and this wiped out the life they were rebuilding because they've had trouble with persecution. So you get to rebuild, and you start rebuilding. You got funds coming in from various places, and then you have this, and the floods come and take it all away. So they're stepping in to provide a little more hope and aid to their brothers and sisters. And they are working to help Christian families affected by this. With your help, we can provide Christian families with urgently needed food essentials to help them endure. Above all, whether you can give a gift or not, please pray for our brothers and sisters at this time. And they remind you that Bangladesh is in need of prayer. All of those places are so vulnerable.
Oh, it's sad. It's heartbreaking.
It is. Now this comes from the ACLJ because they work in this arena of Christian persecution and various other things, standing up for persecuted Christians. The ACLJ, the ACLJ.org is where you go, the American Center for Law and Justice. And we've seen them many times stand up for the persecuted Christians. That's why we make it a point to give the ACLJ, even though they're illegal, they work to get Christians freed in various places when they face courts. They actually pay for their defense to try to get them delivered. Now, there's some very extreme cases they're working on right now that we've covered. So, a young Christian has just been sentenced to execution by hanging for his faith. This young man was falsely accused of blasphemy, tried in a Pakistani anti-terrorism court, and sentenced to death even though no evidence was presented against him. Now, this is typical for Pakistan. How would you like that? How would you like America to become like that? Or some other country? Two other Christians had been falsely accused of desecrating the Quran, and an angry Muslim mob burned down over 20 churches and 80 Christian homes in response. And Muslim rioters shared images of the supposed desecration. And the young man that was accused and was sentenced wasn't even present during the riot, but that didn't make any difference. They found him guilty anyway. Now, he is going to hang for his Christian faith unless the ACLJ can get him freed, and they're working at that.
Oh, I hope they do.
So they mobilized their legal team on the ground in Pakistan to represent him. Now, the last one that the ACLJ helped get loose was Asia Bibi. And we covered that case a long time ago. And she's not even in these areas anymore. She's over in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, and she was charged under the same barbaric law as this Hassan.
Yeah. And we followed Asia's case, and it was really a gut-wrencher, that one.
Oh, it was.
And I all over the country you're seeing this, and even in America you're seeing more hate towards the gospel and Christians than we've seen. You know. When I was raised, we had churches everywhere. There would be no way that you would find Christian persecution in this country.
And you were civil to other people. You disagreed agreeably. You know?
That's right. So this country we are in today, called America, isn't even a mirror of the one that Tower and I grew up in. And that's all there is to that. Okay, we're done with that. Are you ready to do your...
Be sure to get your copy of The Rising, a Christian fiction thriller by the Watchman Dana G. Smith, a story of personal survival, the struggle of a nation, and the love of two people, set amidst the prophetic landscape of perilous times. The Rising is a story of deliverance, faith, power, and the inner struggle within, as the evil engulfs all those who face it. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but thou shouldest keep them from the evil. That's John chapter 17, verse 15. So check out The Rising. You can get your copy of The Rising on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Ingram, Walmart, Angus & Robertson. And this next story comes to us from ICC, persecution.org, International Christian Concern, persecution.org. Gaining ground, frontline Christian persecution.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
This is good news.
Yeah, after Solang, her 5 children and her 3 grandchildren joined the hundreds of thousands of people fleeing violence in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. Solang had hoped life in neighboring Uganda would be easier. But most of her children and grandchildren were stricken with illness as they started their new lives far away from any relatives who could help them. While her oldest child is 25 years old, the other children she is the sole provider for range in age from 15 years to 2 years old. International Christian Concern learned of Solang's need and provided her with goats, pigs, and hens to help her earn income back in 2022. However, her children and grandchildren's health worsened, and with mounting medical bills, forced her to sell the animals out of desperation, and she again struggled to feed her family. Thanks to your generosity, we were able to help Solang and her family yet again. We helped Solang start a business selling items like maize flour, sugar, salt, cooking oil, and soap.
I think that's cool.
I do too. We also provided her family with everyday necessities.
That is so cool, man.
I don't know how to express my heartfelt gratitude for the immense support and assistance that was provided to me during my time as a refugee. Solang said, your generosity in providing me with mattresses, blankets, food, and financial aid has made an incredible impact on my life, and I am forever grateful for your unwavering support. Solang thanked ICC supporters for their generation, which has been crucial to sustaining her, her children, and her grandchildren. They have not only given me a comfortable place to rest, but they have also restored my sense of dignity and security in my life, she said. Your provisions of blankets have been a true blessing, especially during the cold nights. And to help persecuted Christians, go to persecution.org and donate. That's a wonderful story of what ICC and persecution.org has done. And that's just one example of all the people that they help.
And not just, we have lists of a vast list of humanitarian organizations that are Christian. And, so when we talk about stories and going through things, we have a big list to choose from. And we have they contact us. And they contact anybody that helps them. Because this is they need help. And we want to help. And so that's one of the reasons we do these shows once a week, to tell you, the public, what's going on. And I pray that you pray for all the needs and pray for the persecuted church, because there's persecuted church even in America. So we're in Zimbabwe, who's experienced a year-long drought. Now this comes to us from CWmissions.org, Christian World Outreach, at CWOmissions.org. Now this was clipped from Mission Network News Online.org. A lot of these particular ministries get their articles, their needs, the things out, and Mission Network News Online is just one organization that works to spread the news of these organizations, Christian organizations that are bringing help to people. And so we find them in a lot of places. We get a lot of them, though, sent to us. So go to cwmissions.org/Zimbabwe to make a donation to help the people of Zimbabwe. That's cwmissions.org/Zimbabwe, and make a donation. Pray for them. So the drought is leaving long-term marks in southern Africa and Zimbabwe. Just like the people in Pakistan and India suffer from flooding, the people of Zimbabwe are dealing with the opposite, a year-long drought. When I was putting the shows together this week, I was looking at that because we had floods in America that were devastating. And there were others that had floods. And then you go over, to Zimbabwe, and the people don't have water. And you think, man, how can that be with so much flooding? How can somebody not have water? but they don't have water. And so the El Nino phenomenon